Hi, I'm Craig, and I help veterans go from feeling stuck and unseen after service to living with confidence, connection, and purpose so that they can thrive in civilian life and relationships. Hey, vets and families, it's Craig. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you for joining me. Um, I am. I was contemplating before doing this video, before we get into it. I was contemplating whether or not I should do this because I was just sitting here thinking. And by the way, if you like the content that we're doing, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that other veterans can have the same content and have the information that they need to make sure that they viably prepare their claim so that they can win their VA claim and get the compensation they deserve. But I was sitting here thinking as I was preparing this this particular video, and I said to myself, man, like if there was ever a cheat code, this is the cheat code. Like this video is the cheat code, right? This video and the information provided therein is sort of an open door to veterans for their VA claim. If veterans take the information that's provided here and apply that information uh, to to securing the information needed for their claim, if they just follow the steps that's in this video and the subsequent things that I'm going to talk about, I said, man, like this is really a cheat code. It's so much of a cheat code, family, so much of a cheat code, vets, that I said to myself, man, should I even do this? Like I was contemplating back and forth. Should I even put this video out? Like, should I even share this information? Is anybody gonna watch? My burgeoning audience of close to 200 subscribers. I said, man, I'm wondering if this video would even get to all of the many veterans that it needs to get to, so that they can have the tools that they need. Um, and then another thought came to mind. I'm called to do this, right? And it really doesn't matter if it's 200 or 20,000 or 200,000. Um, if there's only one person who gets this information and who finds the information and who uses it and it's beneficial to them, that's worth it for me. That's worth it for me. So I said, yeah, I will definitely do this because it's something that veterans need, regardless of whatever it is that I think. My goal and my mission and our mission here at Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting is to make sure every veteran has the tools and the capabilities and the knowledge and the resources that they need to win their VA claim and to live lives that they deserve to live post-military service after making some of the greatest sacrifices for their country. So for that reason, I'm going to provide the information today, right? So, um, what what is it you say? Like, what is this information? What's this video about? Well, today we're gonna cut through all of the red tape. We're gonna cut through all of the noise that you're hearing about VA evidence and the exact evidence you need to support your VA claim. We keep hearing all of this information about, oh, you do need evidence, your medical records from the service. You don't need your medical records from the service. You need a Nexus letter. You need this. You need that. Like, there's just so much information out there. And I was talking to a friend a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about being able to hone in on the signal in the midst of all the noise, signal versus noise. Right? You got all this noise, you got all of these different things that are happening, but who can focus in on the signal, right? The thing that you actually need to hear in the midst of all the chaos and confusion and all of the rhetoric and all of the talk and, all of the promises that people make. What actually is evidence, and what is the type of evidence that the VA is going to want to see on your claim that will help you win that claim and be as favorable as you can possibly be and get the compensation that you need and deserve. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This information comes straight from the VA's own M21-1 TAC 1 manual. This is This is the playbook that processors and VSRs use every single day. It's their Bible, along with the 38 CFR that they use to process, make decisions on claims, right? Forward claims to senior level reviewers, right? These are the rules and the guidelines that we're going to follow today. And so I want you to stick around for the duration of this video, because by the end, I think you'll know exactly what evidence triggers the VA in their duty to get you the medical exam or the opinion, and how to avoid the number one mistake that gets claims denied before they even get going. So we're going to get into this video. Again, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share this video with someone who you know it may help, because we want all the veterans to get the help that they need. So without any further ado, let's get into VA evidence. Okay, so why does evidence matter in VA claims? What's the whole point of evidence? What's this noise and all this talk that we keep hearing about needing evidence to support your VA compensation claim? Let's start with the simple truth. The VA cannot grant what they can't prove. And I know a lot of people say a lot of things. Well, the VA is screwing me over. The VA didn't give me this, or the VA didn't give me that. And certainly the VA does make mistakes. Certainly there are mishaps. Certainly there are errors that the VA makes. There are errors that veterans make when they submit their claims. That's why we're here to try to help navigate and walk veterans through the submission of their claims. The VA, just like any other organization, has positives, they have negatives, they have strengths, they have weaknesses. But a basic truth is if the VA is not able to prove that there's actually something that happened to you, then they can't grant you, they can't legally grant you compensation for something that they are not able to put their hands on and prove. So the law, and we're talking about 38 CFR 3.159, Charlie 4 in this instance, and you hear a lot about the 38 CFR. We're going to talk about it more today. It says that the VA must provide a medical exam or opinion in these cases when you have competent evidence of a current disability or symptom. Now listen, this may be a longer video than most videos, because I really want this to stick with veterans that are out there. I want this to stick with the person, and I want to be as simple and plain as I possibly can, because this is a huge step. This is a huge cog in the motor, or the engine, if you will, of your VA claim. And so this is important, right? So I'm going to take my time and go through this so that every veteran under the sound of my voice who hears me or who's watching this video will understand exactly what I'm saying. So you have so the VA has got it. They got to provide a medical exam or opinion when you've got competent evidence of a current disability or symptoms. When there's evidence of an in-service event, injury, or disease. Now, these are things that you've heard before. These are things I'm going to continue to pound home and continue to reiterate and continue to knock on wood, like we used to say in the military, right? When you were doing training classes, right? Knock on wood, because this is going to be on the test, right? There's evidence of an in-service event, injury, or disease. And there's indication that your current condition may be linked to your service. If you meet all three of these criteria, the VA is required to help fill in the missing medical link. And they usually do that through a compensation and pension exam. Now, there's a lot of people that are online saying that you don't necessarily need a CMP exam. And in some cases, that's true. But if the VA has determined that they need more evidence, or they cannot confirm that there's actually an existing medical condition based on the evidence that you've already provided, they may ask you for a compensation and pension exam, and they have every right to do so. And we're going to get more into why. If you miss even one of these, your claim can stall out before it starts. Remember the three major evidence pillars, okay? And this is going to be a refrain throughout this video, all right? The three major evidence pillars are current disability, an in-service event, okay? So you have a current disability. You actually have something that is disabling to your person, mentally, physically, socially, or what have you, emotionally. Something is disabling. Something's causing you not to operate or function properly. And that something was triggered by an in-service event, or was caused or originated by an in-service event. And there is a possible link, right? There's a connection to the current disability that you have, right? And your in-service event. Like think of it as a chain connecting two things, okay? So those things have to be present. Here we go with the first pillar. Pillar 1, evidence of a current disability. The first pillar is evidence that you have a current disability or ongoing symptoms. Some people like we'll get to a point where some people like to split it off into 4 pillars instead of 3 pillars. And this would be the 4th pillar, ongoing symptoms, or perhaps even the severity of those symptoms. And if you want to say like secret number 4, secret number 4, when they talk about severity, they talk about CFR 383.159. I believe it's Charlie Section 4. It's in the same Charlie Section 4, where it talks about is this as likely or least as likely to get better or to get worse, right? So when people talk in terms of severity, ongoing symptoms, right, that you now get into the land of, is the veteran going to get better or is the veteran going to get worse? Okay, so some people will call that a 4th pillar. But technically here there's 3, okay? This doesn't have to be a VA record. It can be VA treatment notes, okay? Private doctor records, urgent care or ER reports, even credible lay statements describing ongoing symptoms, okay? Now, let's get into it. Now, the VA this is what the VA calls competent evidence. If it's medical, pretty straightforward, right down the middle, okay? Medical evidence, right? But lay evidence counts as well. For example, you describing how your back pain limits you, or a spouse talking about how they've seen your PTSD symptoms worsen. Another thing would be a coworker saying that they see your mood changes and your performance changes at work. Things like that, right? That could denote a mental health condition that exists in relation to your service. Okay? This is all evidence, and it's what the VA considers competent evidence. Here's a pro tip. If you haven't been to the doctor, but you do have persistent symptoms, write it down. Listen, y'all, when I say, I can't even believe that like I'm actually giving all of this information to you guys. I'm giving you, like, it really is coming from the depth of my care and love for veterans, right? That I'm doing this, because this is, listen, I don't even know if the VA will tell you all of these things, right? It's written in code. It is written in code, but I am not sure that the VA will painstakingly, any VSO or any accredited agent or maybe even any attorney, would sit you down and kind of walk you through these aspects. Okay, dates, severity, and impact on daily life. Like those are, we're gonna do work and videos on statements and those kinds of things, right? If you look at this. This is date, severity, and impact on daily life. The more detailed it is, the better. There's a case, McLendon versus Nicholson, 2006, that confirmed that credible lay reports can meet this element. You know what we're going to do? We're going to get into that case. Just for you. I'm doing this just for you. Just for you. All of the veterans that are watching this, I'm doing this just for you. We're going to get in the case of McLendon v. Nicholson right now. Let's break it down. McLendon v. Nicholson was a landmark veteran court case that clarified when the VA must provide you a medical exam or opinion for your claim. 2006 is when it all broke open, okay? Right before the stock market crash. 2006 was when all of this information came out, right? This is when things changed, historically for the VA. This was a huge change. We're going to talk about it. The court ruled that you don't need definitive proof of service connection to get a VA exam, right? To get a VA exam, like in order for the VA to look at your condition and to determine if the condition that you claimed was service connected or not, like you didn't need proof of service connection in order just to get that exam. Okay. Even equivocal or maybe medical opinions or credible lay statements about your symptoms can trigger the VA's duty to assist. And we know what the VA's duty to assist is. We just did a video on that. Duty to assist you to get medical records, duty to assist you to get evidence, all of those things, right? Like this is perfect segue into evidence, right? Okay. Maybe medical opinions or credible lay statements about your symptoms can trigger the VA's duty to assist. In other words, all you have to do is have a complaint to trigger that system. It's just like in the military making an IG complaint, or if you work for the government making an IG complaint. All they need is a complaint. Doesn't even necessarily you don't have to have proof here. Okay. Under 38 USC 5103 Alpha Delta and 38 CFR 33.159 Charlie 4, VA must provide an exam if these things are present. You have a current disability or symptoms. This is what McLendon v. Nicholson determined. Okay. There's an in-service event, injury, or disease. I told you this is going to be a refrain throughout this whole video, right? And throughout all of the videos we do, guys, right? Because this is the three-legged stool, or some would say the four-legged stool. Okay. Evidence indicates the condition may be linked to service. Where have we heard that before? And now in McLendon v. Nicholson, they said it was a low threshold that it will be linked to service, meaning it's not a high burden of proof that it has to be linked. And the VA doesn't already have enough medical evidence to decide your claim. All right? That it got to issue an exam under those circumstances. Here's some key takeaways from McLendon. The may be associated standard is very low. Listen, if this is one of the most important videos that I've ever done, this is probably the most important slide from the most important videos. So pay attention right here. Lay evidence like your own testimony about symptoms can meet the threshold of evidence. Okay, we're talking about evidence right here. Right? We're talking about evidence. All right. VA cannot dismiss an injury as acute and transitory without medical proof. Okay. Why is that important? Why is acute and transitory important? Right? Because acute and transitory is different than chronic and long lasting. Okay? Chronic and long lasting is the type of condition that the VA looks at as compensable. Acute and transitory means, I'll explain the difference. Acute and transitory means I got stomach flu, right? It's in my record that I had stomach flu, right? But it came and went, right? It was a thing I was going through at the time. Maybe I caught a bug or something on the ship, or maybe I caught a bug or something while I was out in the field or whatever, and it just came and went, right? It's transitory. It's not something that stayed with me. Chronic and lasting or long lasting means I got injured while I was in the military, and I still have recurring back pain, recurring knee pain from that initial injury that happened in service. Okay, that's chronic and lasting. Those are two examples of the difference between acute and transitory and chronic and long lasting, right? Okay. If the first three elements are met, the VA must order an exam unless the file already has sufficient competent medical evidence. This case is a game changer for veterans. Don't give up just because your evidence isn't definitive. If it reasonably suggests a connection to service, the VA at a minimum, guys, they owe you an exam at a minimum, just based on the fact that you made a complaint and there's a reasonable there's a reasonable chance that it's connected to service. That's all they need. That's all they need to trigger a VA exam. Okay. This is probably one of the most important slides. Okay. So leave it up here for a minute. Pay attention to it. Now we're going to move on. Pillar number 2, in-service event, injury, or disease, right? This is where we get into what actually happened while you're in service. This is the second pillar. This is proof of something that happened in service, and this can be one of the following things: service treatment records showing a diagnosis or injury. That is the most common thing that we see. Deployment records showing environmental exposures. Okay, so if a group of you were deployed, you got a meritorious unit accommodation, right? And in there, right, you were serving in an area of operations that is known for certain exposures that could be considered as evidence. Pay attention here. This is really important. DD-214, proven combat service. Combat presumption applies here. Like any combat presumptive issues or conditions would apply here, right? So your DD-214 proving that you were in that area, that you served in that theater, would be evidence. Even buddy statements from those who served with you is considered evidence, okay? Important for certain conditions like those listed in 38 CFR 3.309, 3.317, or 3.320. The VA presumes service connection if they show up within a certain period after service. That means your evidence just has to prove the diagnosis and the timing, okay? The diagnosis and the timing, right? It has to be within that window, okay? Example, a Vietnam veteran with combat service claims hearing loss, PTSD, and back pain. Even without service treatment records in hand, the DD-214 and lay reports of symptoms can be enough to meet this requirement. For PTSD and hearing loss, I did a video about this, about an older veteran, a Vietnam veteran who did not have his records. He did not have medical records. And he was still able to be rated under those conditions, right? Because we had newspaper clippings, we had his award, we had other things that would corroborate that yes, indeed, he was injured. Yes, indeed, he did incur this in-service event. Yes, indeed, he does have the evidence to support that fact. Although it may not be hard medical service record book evidence, yes, we could prove he was in theater during the time. And so can you. So can you. Okay. Pillar number 3, indication of a nexus. Okay. Man, people talk about nexus letters all the time. Look, I'll give you my opinion on it, full stop. You don't always need a nexus letter. In fact, I would say you rarely need a nexus letter. Rarely, very rarely, right? People pump nexus letters, right? And there are all these companies who do them, and more power to them. The people who do it. For the veterans who feel like they need nexus letters, listen. If you educate yourself, and part of that is by listening to this video and others on YouTube and other platforms that are giving you information that you need. If you listen to that information and really educate yourself about what evidence really is, then a nexus letter should be far down the list of what you need. Okay. Now, I'm not against nexus letters. I'm just telling you, that's my opinion, right? I think people run to the nexus letter, right, to connect it, right, without having all of the proper knowledge and understanding about what nexus actually is and what it's supposed to represent. Just my opinion. Third pillar, an indication that your current disability might be related to service. This doesn't mean you need a medical nexus letter right away. Listen, you don't need it right away. This is from the regulation, right? You don't need a nexus letter right away. Nexus letters are covered in 21-1. Nexus letters are mentioned, perhaps in the 38 CFR. Nexus letters mentioned in the VA regs, but you don't need one right away. But you do need something that suggests like it can be a doctor saying it could be related to service. Could be. Remember McLendon versus Nicholson? Could be, right? The threshold is low. Okay. Medical research on your condition and service exposure. Lay statements connecting your symptoms to the in-service event. Whew, man. Again, knock on wood. The bar here is low. McLendon called it a possible association standard. But if there's nothing in your file hinting at a link, the VA can stop right there and deny without ever giving you an exam. That's why even a short doctor's note or a well-written personal statement can make all the difference in the world, right? Because the threshold is low, right? You don't need a lot of evidence. The burden of proof to show that there's a connection is low. And you have case law now to prove that, right? You go to your higher level review. You go to your BVA, Board of Veterans Appeals. You got case law now to prove that you didn't need all of that, right? Somebody tries to tell you you did, you got case law to prove it, because all they're going to do at your review, when they write up the little statement, all they're going to do is throw case law back at you. Just know it before you get there. I'm giving it to you. This is the answers to the test. This is the cheat code. This is everything. Okay? I pray and hope all of you watch this because it's what you need. Okay. How the VA decides if an exam is needed. This is how they decide. Here's what happens behind the scenes. VA reviewers look at your file. This really happens. Do we have enough medical evidence to rate this right now? Okay. I did a video about like approved versus denied versus deferred, right? Mostly when you get things that are either in the denied status or deferred status is because that rater, whoever they may be, they don't believe that they have enough evidence to actually grant a claim. Listen, granting a claim is a huge thing, right? It's not just a fly-by-night thing. It's not just something that you're just automatically going to get, right? Granting a claim reserves congressional funding for you to get paid every month for the rest of your life. Okay, that is that they are actually making a commitment and an obligation to the government on behalf of the government to do that for you. Okay, so it's important. It's important that's the reason why people who scam the VA for disability claims are always getting caught and stuff. That's why. The reason why is because you're not supposed to do this erroneously, because you're authorizing the government to disperse payment to you for a condition that you're claiming actually exists. That condition doesn't exist, right? Then a lot of people are on the hook for answering why they authorized that money to come to you. I'm telling you, it's just the way it is. This is congressional stuff, all right? If the answer is yes, no exam is needed. If the answer is no, and you meet those three pillars, they schedule a CMP exam. But here's the catch. If they haven't finished gathering other evidence, they might wait to schedule it. For example, they will want your service treatment records before a hearing loss exam because in-service audiograms can make or break the case. In-service audiograms, right? You know those hearing tests you take, beep, 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 right? This is just an example when they talk about hearing tests. Hearing loss, rather. Hearing loss, by the way, can be connected to mental health concerns, can be connected to TBIs, all those things. But we'll talk about that later. Right now, I just want to I want to get in your minds what evidence is and what you need. Okay. This is why you want to front load your claim with as much evidence as possible. Don't make the VA go on a fishing trip or a scavenger hunt or pin the tail on a donkey or where's Waldo or hide and go seek. Don't make the VA play these games finding your evidence. What they're most likely going to do is say, hey, we don't got it. You know, I already told you in another video that they only have to look so much before they say it's reasonably beyond reasonable understanding or reasonable expectation that we will find this record. So guess what? We're going to stop looking for it. If you think that somebody's going to go, the VA is going to go the extra mile to find your stuff, you are sadly mistaken. I'm sorry. That is not the way that it is. Okay. So we have to be proactive. We have to be intentional about doing these things. So make sure you have as much evidence as possible. Don't make the VA go look for the evidence. Now, I got some action steps, but then I got something else to tell you at the end of this video. If you stayed this long, I got something else to tell you. But before I tell you that, let's go over some action steps that the veteran can take. Document your current condition. This is medical records, lay statements, symptom logs, and such. Prove the in-service event. This would be with service treatment records, DD-214, deployment records, buddy statements, those kinds of things. Suggest the link, expert medical opinions, research, personal narratives. Remember, service treatment records are in here, but they are just part of a larger thing, right? Part of a larger package that you're going to, or a larger story or narratives that you're going to tell to the VA. Submit it all up front with your claim, right? Remember, we talked about front loading as much evidence as possible so that you are clear, so that everything is understood, okay? The goal, and this is the philosophy that we teach here and that we guide our clients through here at Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting. The goal is to make it impossible for the VA to say, we don't have enough to decide. That's what the goal is. So I've come to the end of this video, okay? If this video helped you understand how the VA decides whether to give you a medical exam, hit the like button. The like button tells YouTube to get this in front of more veterans who need it. Drop your questions in the comments. And if you want to get more into a deep dive of VA claim strategy, subscribe and hit the notification bell. But if you've made it this far, okay, if you made it this far, then I have something else that I want to tell you, okay? And again, I don't know why I'm doing this. God only knows why I'm doing this, right? He's the one that put it in me to do this for my fellow veterans all around the world. Anybody who would come in contact with me, I feel obliged for those reasons to do this. But I am going to drop if you put in the comment section evidence, oh my goodness, if you put in the comment section evidence, okay, I will link a free PDF to everything we talked about in this video and more about the proper evidence that you need for your claim. Not only will it have this information in there as a reminder of what you can say and how you can move if you ever have to go to one of these reviews or one of these higher, the Board of Veterans Appeals or to go to any kind of hearing. Not only will it have that information, but it will also have additional information about how you are to go after collecting your record, right? It'll have that information, right? All in the PDF, right? At the end, it'll walk down information that you need to understand what evidence is. And then in an appendix, I have all of the tips to collecting medical evidence before you even submit your claim, right? You can have rock solid evidence, rock solid diagnosis, rock solid conditions, rock solid, all of these things can be on point solid. I mean, before you even file your claim, before you even submit an intent to file, you can have everything you need to make sure your claim is solid and that it goes through. I'm going to pull up the PDF and how it looks, right? how this PDF is going to look on the inside. There's just a portion of how it looks on the inside, right? I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to let you see some of the information that we have that you can be privy to if you drop evidence down in the link, right? Just drop evidence down in the comment box, and I'll send what I'm about to show you directly to you so you can have it for your own records. And it'll be 100% finished, 100% polished, all of that, right? And I'm going to show you exactly what you get when you ask for a free PDF from Warrior Rock Counseling and Consulting. Now, listen, here's what I want to share with you. Okay. Here's the thing that I would send you out, right? PDF, I'll send you out, right? When your VA claim, I've highlighted some of the things that you'll see here. When your VA claim, 3 evidence pillars every veteran must have. Look at that. You got everything in there. I've highlighted, this is what you're going to learn. 3 pillars of a VA claim evidence, how landmark McLendon versus Nicholson makes it easier to get a VA claim. Why you should take full advantage of it. How to gather organized proof like a professional so that you build a case the VA can't ignore. Go down. And I want to show you something else. You get all this information in here, all that stuff, right? Broken down in sessions, showing you how to do everything, right? I'm going to tease these, right? This is Appendix A. I'm going to tease it, right? Gather evidence like a detective. I show you how to be dogmatic and diligent about gathering the evidence that you need, right? Dogmatic about it, right? And this is Appendix A. Scroll down. Let me tease Appendix B. In Appendix B, you got my little nice moniker there. Check this out. Appendix B is an evidence log and symptom journal template. An evidence log and symptom journal template. Literally what I do is I give you a journal template to log your evidence and exactly the way to do it. But I'm teasing that and I'm going to drop out. Why? Because I want to see where the interest lies. I want you to get it. You got to put evidence in there in order to get this claim, get this free PDF guide. It's yours for free, right? And one of the things that I was thinking about was, man, are veterans even going to pay attention to this? Do veterans even want something like this, right? Listen, prove me wrong. Prove that thought wrong. Prove that mindset wrong. Show me. Yes, Craig, we definitely want this. We definitely want to see it, right? And I love, one of the things I love is I love to be proven wrong. So please, I'm saying this is all information that you will get for free. And you will not get this anywhere else, at least not for free. Your friendly neighborhood VSO just doesn't have the time. VA claim companies overpromise and underdeliver. Okay, so I would admonish you, take your time, listen to this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, leave a comment below that says evidence, and I will be happy to link this PDF that I just showed you that we just talked about. I'll be happy to link that in the comment box for any and all who wants it, right? Because I think it's super duper important that veterans have the tools, the resources, and the techniques that they need in order to win their VA claim. All right, I know this video is longer than most of it. This will probably be one of the longest videos I'll ever do, but I thought it reached the level of importance where it needed to be longer. Listen, I always put timestamps and chapters in the videos. So if you want to skip ahead to something, that's perfectly fine. If there's a particular thing that interests you in this video, it's perfectly fine. I think the whole video is applicable to every veteran's situation. But if you want to skip ahead to see what might be exclusive to you, that's perfectly fine as well. Listen, I want you to win. I want all of us to win, right? And so I've made this available to everyone who's watching the channel, and I want to thank you all who have subscribed to my channel. I want to thank you all who are watching the videos, even though those of you who haven't subscribed. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your attention to getting knowledge and information and understanding about VA claims so that you can win the compensation that you so rightfully deserve. All right, last thoughts, final thoughts. I'm here for you. There's so much more to cover. You guys have no idea. And I'm excited to bring it to you, okay? Stay tuned for a lot more videos, a lot more content, a lot more PDF guides, a lot more resources so that you can get the benefit you deserve. And the last but not least, always my final saying is, for all veterans and their families and your friends and your loved ones, I want all of you to live loyally and live well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.